Hello and welcome to ABW Live. No Welshman today, just the John Welsh. I'm hosting today, and I am joined by the wonderful, very cold, very wrapped up Danny. How you doing, mate?
I am. I'm very good. Yeah, it's been cold, and I've got all the door. It's a nightmare trying to convince the child. Like if I use the analogy of a sinking ship. She goes, "You don't need to close the back door when I'm going outside." I say, "You do." It's like the hull of a ship. If you leave the hull of a ship open, all the water's going to come in. Much like the back door, it's going to let all the fucking cold air in. So trying to get her to close her bedroom door and the bathroom door, she
There you
doesn't do
go.
it. So now I've welded shut every orifice of my house, and I'm trying to warm it up. How
So,
are
if
you?
anyone listening is wondering how we're going to fill an hour on today's radio show, it's good. Although it's only two of us, because I've got Danny, there'll definitely be other stuff. There'll be cats,
Oh,
holes of
dear.
ships, orifices on houses. We'll have all sorts. I'm very good. I'm very good. I will say quick hello to everyone in the chat box. MJL, Jake Taylor, My25, Hyrie Lurker, Supercalifragilistic, Expialidocious, that's one. Basti LZ, N235, Mark Bricks, Carlito, Lars Goran, Rudy Rastos, Grant Wilborn, Stephen Mills, Unix 79, Phelps JSP, Stephen, Fred Flintstone, Sai, Loki 73, Ian Taylor, Archie. Oh, I think I've done them all lossless. Okay, I think that's everyone. Daniel Madge. Have I missed anyone? There we go. I think I've got everyone. Frankie Four Eyes, Jessa Chemical X. Right, that's everyone now. Thank you
How
to everyone
quick
who is
did you do
also.
that?
I know you've got to be speedy with this, mate. Thank you to everyone also listening to on iTunes or SoundCloud or Stitcher or
Spotify.
whatever. Spotify as well. Yes, we are on
Yes.
Spotify. Ricardo Perez as well in there. Hello, hello, hello. Piyush Kapoor. Hello. Also, before we even get started, Unique 79 with £2. Thank you very much for that donation. That is much appreciated. Would have been nicer if it was 1.99 because then it would have wound up Danny. Anyway,
Oh
should we
dear, yeah.
actually? I should
Cheers,
probably tell
mate.
you what the result was as well because you might not have seen the game. We won 3-0 FA Cup third round away to Blackpool. Bit of a weird atmosphere because most of the Blackpool fans weren't in the stadium because they're all protesting their. This is my view, not ABW's scumbag owner.
No,
Because
no, I think I'll go with that. I've actually, I do a
he's
little bit.
quite litigious, isn't he?
Yeah. I do a little bit of time traveling, and I
Mm.
often nip back to the '70s to get you some nice sweets and get Chris some clothing. I've actually knit forward to the future when Chris is 80 years old. He's a spitting image of that Carl Oyston bloke. It is. It's uncanny how they look like they're separated at birth. He's still
It's
as
quite
miserable though
worrying. Yeah.
when he's 70.
It's terrifying. A certain Welsh guy might have put some pictures in one of our WhatsApp groups of Oyston and then Chris, and yeah, it's not a good look, Chris. It's not a good look.
It's not.
Anyway, yeah. So third round through onto the fourth. Lineups, Danny.
Yes.
Much changed. Not too surprising. Some of the youngsters coming in. Were you happy with it? Mostly with those youngsters who did get to start today.
Well, it's just the usual thing of early rounds of the cups like this. Most of the League Cup and all of the group stage of the Europa League, it's going to be a mixture of first team players that are trying to get back in the first team players that are coming back from injury, players that are going to Juventus for a much better life and warmer weather, and youth players coming up, and then maybe a sprinkling of players that are possibly in one or two or three of those individual camps. I thought it was very good. Personally, I'd have liked to have seen Martinez play a game, but you can't have Czech on all that money and freeze him out of all games. But Czech was always going to have a good game in here. A little injury in the warm up because when we saw the lineup and I thought, oh, that's a bit odd. I'd rather see Jenkinson play it right back than see Lichtsteiner play there. But then it looks like he did play there because Cos got himself a little bit of a knock. Did you hear anything about that knock in the warm
I
up?
think they said it was just like a back injury, so like some sort of whether it's a muscle pull or something like that. They saw him on the bench in the second half, so they obviously worked on him in the changing rooms maybe during the first half. Excuse me. So hopefully it's nothing too serious. I think again with Koscielny at the moment, it's just sort of seeing him through games and just getting his match fitness and getting the minutes on the pitch.
Because always
Go on.
So it's always a bit of a worry because you said that he was on the bench, but he wasn't a named substitute. So they've had to go and get another substitute from somewhere else, haven't they? So Jenkinson was originally named on the bench. So Jenkinson's come from the bench to go in at right back. And so we had 7 subs. So Who do you think it was?
Smith Rowe, I think, was the one who took Jenkinson's position on the bench.
He's
Yeah,
probably there for having a lovely day out. But Smith Rowe has been oddly absent from a lot of the games. He had quite a few games in the Europa League, didn't he? And then he's been absent quite a lot. With in fact, one person tweeted, "Oh, we should bring him on as a sub." And I said, "Well, he's not even a sub, so I don't think he's had a knock or anything." But as of late, his physio room has been a pain in the arse because they've been tweeting and they've been adding on their update of Arsenal injuries players that aren't even injured. So
yeah.
I think I need to find a more reliable source than physio room.
Yeah, so little knock to Koscielny, but Jenkinson came in and Lichtsteiner just shuffled across the centre back, so wasn't too much of a worry. Before we get into the game, Michael Hanneman, £10 donation. Thank you very much.
10
Michael,
quid?
Michael says, solid performance and comfortably into the next round. Nice to keep a clean sheet and see a good performance from the young gunners, especially Joe Willock, who had a great game. Yeah, I agree with you there, Michael. We're going to do things a little bit differently today. We'll do some individual performances rather than sort of go first half, second half. So into that, Danny, we're just going to talk about the goal straight away, and it was Joe Willock who got himself on the score sheet first.
Willock the Younger, as he is known.
Yes, Willock the Younger with the first one. Just he played very, very well, but that all came from Ramsey free kick, bit of a deflection, but Willock was the first to react.
Yeah, it's good. What minute was that in?
That was the 11th minute into the game.
Minute.
So we won a free kick edge of the box.
We missed out 3 of my bits of my.
Oh
bits
no, we're gonna dive into
Oh.
Eddie and stuff like that as well.
Okay, yeah. So I've put great deflected free kick because that looked like it was going to go, as the cool kids say, top bins. Looked like it was going to go there. Bounced out, and Willock was there to nod it down and in, which I always I've heard people that are decent strikers say in a situation like that, always nod it down because the goalkeeper isn't expecting you to nod it down. So nod it down, hit the floor, bounced in, lovely. It's really good to see him, the third of the Willock triplets, all different ages, do that. And he is one that has been quite underrated because he played a few games at the end of last season, didn't he? And I don't really think he did much of his chances. And a couple of the Europa League games, I didn't really think much of him. Although I know what a talent he is after watching him seeing him with the under 18s and the under 23s. So it's great for him to start off the game like that. And not panic and not put it over, not do what is going to be known as an Eddie Nketiah and put it over from 2 foot. Because we don't need that.
Yeah, we will talk about Eddie and his individual performance as well. I don't think he had a bad game. Well, he had good game in parts, but
it could have been a lot
finishing
better.
It could have been a lot better for him. I was just impressed by Willock in that particular instance because we'd already seen a couple of times he broke into the box. He was the first to react, against Blackpool had, some seasoned sort of pros on the pitch who've been around for a long time. When coming into the game, I wasn't too sure I'd know many of the players, but Jay Spearing, was he the kid who was at Liverpool years ago, I believe?
Yeah, I was looking at that. He's played 31 games in the Premier League for Liverpool, and Nathan Nathan has played.
Villa?
Villa. He played 30 games for him, and
I thought I recognised him as well. Yeah, and Bowler was the young kid who was at Arsenal, wasn't he?
Yeah, we had. If you listened to the podcast, you'd have heard him on the loan watch for the last couple of years. Had a really good loan at Bristol Rovers last season. The season before, he was on loan somewhere else, and we let him go at the end of the season, at the end of last season. And yeah, he's cemented. I like that word, cemented his place in that Blackpool team, and they should be doing a lot better than they actually are.
Yeah, it's a weird situation at Blackpool though because not having fans in the stadium must be an odd experience for the players. I know there were Blackpool fans there, but there was Arsenal fans outnumbered the Blackpool fans today.
Yeah, I think there was 3,000 Blackpool and 5,500 Arsenal.
Yeah, which is
odd,
a very weird situation to be in. Must be confusing for the players. But yeah, I'm sure lots of people know what that's all about and the process and everything. I do hope the Arsenal fans who went didn't buy anything from the Blackpool Stadium, but they bought all stuff from the local businesses around, at least outside. I know Arsblog had one of their Blackpool supporters groups on, I think, on the pod this week, and they were talking about that. So we get ourselves off to a nice 1-0 lead quite early on. And I honestly thought majority of the game, Danny, we looked very comfortable. They put a few crosses in that we were a little bit shaky on, 1 or 2 that maybe they could have done better with. But I thought we controlled the game, controlled the tempo. The pitch wasn't great, but we dealt with it okay. I was very surprised how high a line they were playing because the ball over the top was on nearly the whole in first half. We had a lot of space for Iwobi, Maitland-Niles, Willock, and Nketiah, Ramsey as well, all to run in behind, wasn't there?
When you're playing against young, hungry, athletic wingers like that with speed and youth on their side, you don't really want to be holding a high line, do you? Especially when you're, they're just above mid-table in the third tier of English football. They've had a real bad of recent form in the league. I think they've won 1 out of their last 6 games. And when you know that you're going to get these young players and they're going to try and do you for pace and over the lobs over the defence and stuff like that. And if it wasn't for our finishing, we could have had 5, 6, 7. But I think beginning of the second half, they did have a bit of a better run. They were doing a little bit more attacking, but then I think maybe they'd have been lucky to get 1 goal for the entire game. It never looked like they threatened as much, and I think that kind of our players saw that, and they didn't really go out there to do like Spurs did the other night and go and smash 7 past them. The team don't need that. Their fans don't really need that. We're through to the next round. We kept a clean sheet, which is nice. It was our first one in the last decade, I think. It feels like it. So Czech's not used to it. I mean, you never know. He might have been saved a penalty. If he'd have done that, I'd have just turned it off and said, "I'm dreaming this. I'm going to go back to sleep."
Yeah, I don't think. Nice. I don't remember Czech having to make a save in the game, did he?
No. I think maybe there was one at his right-hand post. Yeah, but I think that might have been one of our defenders got to it first, but I don't think he did very little.
Oh yeah, very very early on. That was the if you didn't see the game, Blackpool had a guy up front, Nandui, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Played a lot of time in the Farmers League.
I've got no idea how you pronounce it. It's got G's and N's and D's.
He's their top goal this season with 9 in all competitions.
Yeah, he's also about 10 foot tall. He's an absolute monster of a man, huge. But there was a brilliant section in the first 5 minutes of the game where he got the ball and he's running at our box, and Lichtsteiner, I don't know whether it was his idea of what defending is or he was just a little bit scared of him, because instead of going to close the ball down, he just kept stepping away from him to the point of the guy getting nearly all the way to the byline and into our 6-yard box to get a shot off. I think that was the one save that Czech maybe had to make. But it was a fairly comfortable performance, and we didn't really have to go above second gear, as the sort of cliche says. Willock's second goal, again, because we went in 2-0 at half time. So 2-0 and a clean sheet at half time.
Yes, it's the Europa League all over again, isn't it? Because in our 6 Europa League games, we were leading at half time in 5 of the games, and I think we had 4 clean sheets, or 5 and 4 the other way around. We should just play this team in the league. Maybe that's what we need to do.
Yeah. But yeah, Willock's second goal, he got a little bit of fortune, but again, it comes from intelligent play, good movement, and always following in. There was some nice interplay down the right-hand side. Iwobi, Ramsey, Jenkinson. Jenkinson gets a nice ball across. Nketiah tries to get to it. It looks like it's going to dribble out, and in comes Willock again at the back post and puts it away. Again, he looks. I was saying this to Jason earlier, Danny, because we were talking about whether we rate Willock or how we sort of viewed him. I thought maybe last season and the season before we'd seen him in the preseason tours and things like that, he looked a little bit lightweight. He looked like he was too easily muscled off the ball. Nice passing and everything else, sort of thing you expect from an Arsenal academy youngster. But this season, he's looked a lot more physical, stronger. He's going into tackles. His reading of the game seems to be smarter, and just his movement in general. And the other big difference as well, he's been moved higher up the pitch. He was played a lot deeper, wasn't he, in the previous seasons?
Yeah, I think that his position is more of an Aaron Ramsey than an Ozil kind of position. But he's at that age at the moment where it can be either or neither or neither. But his like you were saying with him bulking up, that's the huge stepping stone, making it from the preseason friendlies and the substituting games that we found with Zellerland, where he just hasn't been able to make it across, and that is such a huge gap. And we saw tonight from Eddie Nketiah that he really is struggling when it comes to the first team games, because he's for someone, if you look back at the history of Arsenal youth players getting chances in the first team, strikers, he is getting quite a lot of chances considering the actual output that he's getting. Those 2 goals against Norwich in October, nearly said 87 then, bloody hell, in October 2017. From then to now, he's really not done much, as in tonight he could have done a lot more. And I really do think he needs to go out on loan And I think he's ahead of schedule because this is the game that Welbeck would have been playing. Lacazette shouldn't even have been on the bench. It would have been Welbeck up front. It would have been Eddie Nketiah as a substitute. And I think at times he's struggling with it, and he really could do with a loan. But as we've seen in our transfer window, we don't have the money to go and get anyone else. And the next one making his way through is John Jules. And he is doing the same as Nketiah was in the under-18s and the under-23s, but he's even younger. So that's really the end of where we've got two young youth strikers coming through, and there's Balogun as well, another even younger one who's banging in the goals. But there is a steady progression of young players coming through, but it's I think it's the lack of other players, which is why Eddie keeps getting these chances, and it's only going to make him a better player, but he really could do with a loan.
Yeah, I do think if Welbeck hadn't been injured, then in this window, maybe Nketiah would have gone out on loan. I think it's reasonable to keep the youngsters around for the Europa League games and Carabao Cup early rounds, and then when you get to the more serious part of it, you're going to put the first team in, and those guys can then go out and get more of a loan experience. But
do you think it was a handball? Because I've put here 37th minute, run by Iwobi, pass it to Jenks. It's 37th minute goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Passes it to Jenks. Jenks crosses it. Eddie gets a tiny little touch on it, so I suppose he might have got the assist for that. It was more bounced off him, and it lands at the feet of Willock, and he just taps it in, and I've put in brackets, a cheeky handball, question mark?
Yeah, I think as Iwobi brings it down, it comes off his knee and then onto his arm.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because if you're running, your arms are obviously moving up and down, but I did think, it was a little bit generous. It's an easy one to miss, though. I think there's that, and actually, I think the third goal was probably offside as well, or looked offside. But like, we were clearly the better team in the day, and I think it's just a case of, if we stepped it up a gear, we could have got the goals. So Blackpool could have some complaints, I guess, because I thought two of the goals, they could have been disallowed, but they didn't really threaten. They didn't offer anything. So they're probably just get out of the competition and see what they can do in the league this season. I
Did
mean,
you see...
or I don't know, what's the geezer's name who owns it? Oyston will be happy that I keep wanting to say Orstein. He'll be happy he earned some money off the Arsenal fans coming, I guess.
Yeah, because he ain't gonna make any from his own fans. But did you see that? And 30 minute later, we had another left back, didn't we? Did you see that bit?
No,
we had Czech tried his hand at left back. Does that count as our seventh left back of the season? Question mark. I've put. Do you think it does?
I'm not really sure what he was doing there.
I don't even think he knows what he was doing. The cold got to him.
I mean, he came out for the punch, and I thought, okay, that's fine, punched it, but then followed the ball out of the box, and I think it was Nottingham, their wing back or something, like went over, and Czech kind of just held his hands away and said, "Oh no, ref, I didn't touch him," because he could have quite easily got a yellow card there. But yeah, Czech looked a little bit rusty on a few things today. Understandable though, to be fair, because he just hadn't played for quite a while. But yeah, that was I don't know what he was doing. I was glad to have him in goal though, just because the crosses and the only real threat I thought Blackpool were going to offer us was aerially, because they have got some very, very big players.
Yeah, that one at front who's a living Wookiee.
Yeah, or him, and they had they brought a couple on as well, Pritchard and Davies, maybe. I think it might have been who they brought on.
Davies sounds like trouble. Yeah, they looking back at the time here, they brought on Chris Taylor. No, they didn't. Harry Pritchard, Christopher Mafumbi, and Steve Davis, the snooker player. He just come on and he just stood there for an hour going, and walking around the other side of the ball going, oh, I don't know. And then the other side, oh. And then he went off.
Yeah.
Steve Davis was a snooker player, people.
They're not going to know
a child of the 80s.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're all younger than us. They won't know that. So going into the second half, we're 2-0 up. It's nice and comfortable. No problems at all. And it was, I think, for sort of 10 minutes of the second half, maybe 15, Blackpool put a little bit of pressure on. Again, they didn't really threaten, but they had a bit more of the ball. They were slinging in some crosses and stuff. I thought Lichtsteiner looked a little bit suspect again at centre back, but
he looks a bit Lichtsteiner-ish.
Yeah, looks a little bit Lichtsteiner-y. Socrates, I thought, was good though. He clearly enjoys the physical battles and stuff, and was winning a lot of headers and clearances.
I think you can get away with a lot more at this level of football. Who was the referee? Was
it was Mike Dean.
Yeah. So I'm surprised Mike Dean didn't try and call him up for this. But there, it's a little bit. It's a bit like being in the undercard at a UFC match. That you're going to get away with a few more thumbs in the eyes and a few more kicks to the testicles at this level. And those players are used to it. They're not going to be doing too much complaining. I did expect more from Bowler, and Howard was also another ex-Arsenal player. He was there for 05, 06 as in the reserves. He was a substitute in the 2006 Charity Shield, I think, and he was the only one out of our 7 subs that didn't get a game that day. So 2 ex-Arsenal.
So their goalkeeper. Okay, I didn't know that.
32 now. Decent goalkeeper. He still holds the record. I was looking on Wikipedia for the most number of clean sheets in a row for Sheffield United with 8. So a decent keeper.
That's not bad. I mean, there wasn't a ton in the games that really happened, to be honest, guys, in terms of incidents. We'll like jump into, because a lot of people are asking about Nketiah, but we'll talk about the third goal quickly before we go on to that. Iwobi gets his goal. I thought it was offside. Did you? Yeah. I mean, I think it's Lacazette picks it up, lays it off to Ramsey, who then plays it across the box. Oh no, sorry, he has a shot and it deflects, and Iwobi's there for the tap-in. But yeah, I thought he was a good yard or two, maybe offside for that. So,
but I think the fact that the goalie got a touch to it did that. Oh, there's probably some bloody subsection 17 part Z alpha segment, and it's probably got something to do with that. The referee's thinking, oh my god, he's gone to take the shot and the bloke's offside, but then the goalie's touched it, so then it's still in play, and you just think, well, they're never going to win it, are they? So just let them have it. It's a lot easier.
No, I thought. Oh, sorry, it was a cross. Yeah, I couldn't remember whether it was a shot or a cross now. Yeah, I thought it was offside.
I think it was a shot. It's a shot that ended up looking like a cross because the goalkeeper turned it into a cross. But yeah, it was definitely a shot. Good work from Ramsey in the build up to it, working his silky skills, and it just shows the making of that bloke. I mean, the fact that in a game like this, away at a rubbish team in the third round of the FA Cup, he still turns up, still does the business. Meanwhile, Ozil is probably locked in a broom cupboard at the Emirates, shouting through the keyhole, "I'm not playing, I'm not coming out, I'm not doing it. You can't make me." Much like when I used to get Sean to try and tidy a room. No, not doing it. You can't make me.
He is a consummate professional. I know there's going to be people complaining now because we're talking about Ramsey and him leaving. So I've seen so many people tweet me going, "Stop crying about it. It's done. Get over it." It was only Blackpool. He was still very good. I mean, so they were the 3 goals really. So I think we got a bit of luck on 2 of them, but we were much the better team, and it was kind of not a damp squib. The game was fine, and it was okay to watch, but there wasn't a lot of excitement in it. I was more interested to see how the youngsters played. So we'll start with Nketiah, Danny.
Yeah.
I thought
before we go to Nketiah,
go on.
You said that it was a bit of a damp squib. I do think we were more than capable. If they'd have made more of a game of it, we would have stepped up. We would have been fine. So, like I think Tony Adams said 3-1. A couple of other people on the thing I was watching said 5-0 and 4-0. Yeah. So I don't think I wasn't worried at any point, and I also wasn't worried that if at any point they'd have scored a goal or if they'd have got an equaliser, we'd have just stepped it up another gear. I don't know how you do that in football. You don't have gears. You just pulled your finger out your arse and scored more goals. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes in an FA Cup tie, especially in the third round, when you get away games, they can be a bit tricky, and we've suffered a bit in the past in this competition and in the Carabao Cup as well. Carabao Cup has been the one we suffered more in, but yeah, today we just felt very comfortable and not easy, because I don't want to be rude to Blackpool, but they didn't really get going, and I think even at 2-0 they kind of gave up a little bit. But yeah, like you say, I think we could have just gone up another notch and quite easily, comfortably got the game. But yeah, we're going to talk about individuals, in particular the youngsters, and how they all did. So we'll go through them. Nketiah, I thought he was good in terms of his running in behind, some of his hold-up play. But he is a striker, so he's going to be judged on his finishing. Could have had a hat-trick. Should have had a hat-trick today, maybe? Is that harsh?
He's still only young, isn't he? I mean, how old is the young man? He's
19
He's
now.
going to be... of course,
he's 19.
I've got it on. Yeah, he's only 19. At that age, you're allowed to get away with stuff. You look at his goals per games ratio in the under-23s when he was playing there was 17 and 18. His ratio is brilliant. And he's going to be a really good player, hopefully. We just need to make sure that you do need goals. You can't... I remember there was players that what was that one? Was it Triple Apcom? He played maybe 50 games for club and country, and he scored bugger all goals. Every time he played for Arsenal, he didn't score. So although he kept trying and he kept looking good, then he'd go back to the reserves and he'd look all right. Eddie does need to get goals, because you can't keep playing and looking okay and not scoring goals. And now he's got 3 goals to his Arsenal career. And if you go back and look at the modern Arsenal in the last 30, 40 years, when the reserve system has been quite decent, the number of players that haven't made it through to the first team and scored 3 goals, I mean, they may have been against League 2, Division 2 Norwich, and then Division 3 Blackpool, but they're still goals and they still count. And when you look at the stats, you're going to go, yeah, okay, give him another chance. But if he'd have played all these minutes and have done nothing with all of them, then you'd be thinking, oh, maybe there's a chance to give someone else a go. So I think he did all right.
Yeah, I just think out of all those chances he had a one-on-one with the keeper. The keeper stayed up well and made himself big, but you'd expect a little bit more. You could kind of let that one go. But the 2 chances, particularly early on, there was, I think, both crosses from Maitland-Niles on the right-hand side, and he just put both of them the wrong side of the post.
He didn't seem too bothered by it either, which is...
Yeah, I mean, he looked... he's probably thinking about it now, but it's one of those where it's like, even if he doesn't score, just hit the target, you know?
But so early on in the game, maybe you're not warmed up, maybe you're not ready, maybe the nerves are stepped in, because you are starting a game for the first team for Arsenal, which is something which I don't think he's done that much of. So yeah, but if that had come maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes into the game, he probably would have put that away. But
yeah, maybe a bit more relaxed.
It's just a massive learning curve, isn't it, for him? So
yeah.
I'm not sad about it or annoyed. I think, yeah, he did all right. Yeah, good.
I would like to see him get. I know we already said, but I'd like to see him get a loan, and if possible, either to a Premier League team, like at a high level, a decent level, but where he's actually going to get played. So whether that be someone lower down in the Premier League, or
I think
even in the Championship would be fine, as long as it's a sort of top 6 kind
somewhere
of team.
Who's going to go and guaranteed football and going to get goals, because the amount of times we've had players go on loan and they've not played or they've not got goals. Needs to be a team fighting for promotion. Derby don't really need anybody. And who else is up there? There's
Leeds are up there, aren't they?
Leeds. We don't want him soiled at dirty Leeds. With a black belt in the dark arts, and we don't really need that, do we?
Yeah, I do think Richard Garrett has just put it in it. Eddie's a late developer. He'll fill out come 22. I do think there is a little aspect of that, because there was a few times where he was sort of shrugged off the ball quite easy. And I know he's small, but you can still be small and physically strong on the ball and like have that low center of gravity and be hard to shift. So I do think there is a case of today he's playing against men and it is a bit different. But the chances he got, should at least be hitting the target there. So he'll be disappointed with that. But other than that, I actually thought the rest of his play I thought was fine. And he looked disappointed to come off as well, which is always good. That's the right attitude to have. You should always want to stay on the pitch.
I mean, he's 5'9", and at 19, you're coming up to the age where you are probably going to stop growing. So he's probably going to end up 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah.
But then he needs to bulk out a little bit. That's the thing that I used to admire about Theo Walcott, and used to compare him to Gnabry, and you look and they're both basically the same kind of person, same sort of size, but then you try knocking Gnabry off the ball, even in his early days, and that bloke was rock solid. You had no chance, and that's the kind of thing. And we have a history of Arsenal bulking players up.
Yeah, and especially this season as well, you can see where players are bulked up, those that needed to shed a bit of weight as well, like Kolasinac needed to trim down a bit. He looks trimmer. Iwobi looks physically stronger, so I'm sure they'll get Eddie in the gym.
And he's not one of those players that relies on his pace. So I think he's more in the mould of an Ian Wright kind of player, more than a Thierry Henry. Bloody hell, that's comparison for the boy. That's not putting too much pressure, is it?
No pressure on him at all. We jump on to Joe Willock. Obviously, he got 2 goals. He did score a third, although it was offside. Besides his goals, because they were both tap-ins. I thought his all-round play, very comfortable on the ball, what you'd expect from someone from the Arsenal academy, but like I said, looks so much physically stronger now, and takes the ball, carries it forward very well. I thought, got better technical, like fancy footwork than I'd seen in the past. He was a bit one-paced when I'd seen him previously, and he seems to be able to change gears a lot quicker now.
Well, that's the future for him, playing in those positions. That's 3 or 4 games he's played this season? I'm never quite sure.
Yeah, there's a couple in the Europa as well, wasn't there?
Oh, his WikiLeaks page.
he's Julian Assange.
Yeah, Assange rates him really highly. So that's on his Wikipedia page. This is only up to the 13th of December. It says 3 games, 2 goals. So that would have been now. It's going to be 4 goals in 4 games. So that's along the lines of what Smith Rowe, another attacking central midfielder that looks happy going forward in a more kind of Ozil way. Also looks happy in a Ramsey kind of way where you're doing a bit of both, and maybe even playing central midfielder like the kind of way Guendouzi do. I think you look at these lads next year or the season after, as long as we sort them out of a contract and don't let them all leave, then we have got some really young, promising, exciting players that have all got goals in them. And like you're saying, he looks really comfortable in that position. And that's the thing you're going to get from playing games like this, with the confidence you're going to get from the manager saying to you, go on, son, you're starting, and have a little bit of a free roll, and then go out there and work your magic, and work the magic he did.
Yeah, I thought he had a really good game today, Willock. I was much more impressed with him. Again, it's Blackpool, it's League One team, so you do have to take that into account, but you can still only perform against what's in front of you on the pitch. So yeah, really pleased for him. I think we might maybe towards the end of the season you might see him pop up on the bench a few more times, that kind of thing. Depends obviously what happens in this window and stuff, but
depends if he can play centre back. He'll be playing next week. That's what we need.
Quite possibly. He does look a bit. Yeah, he looks tall enough, so maybe.
Yeah.
Maitland-Niles, Danny, again playing wide.
Yeah.
You quite like him out on the wing. He keeps saying he wants to be a centre mid, but you like him out wide, don't you?
Well, you can't afford to be picky if you're getting chance. I mean, if they said to you, John, we want you to come and play for the Arsenal, but you're playing left back, you ain't going to go, well, you know,
I'll play Waterboy.
I'll play anything. So playing, I was saying to you before we started, and I've said in the WhatsApp groups that I really like seeing Maitland-Niles on the right and Iwobi on the left. Although Iwobi's right-footed, I think it works better for him on the left. You know he's going to go all Arjen Robben a little bit and cut in a lot, but he's got the pace. Both of those two, there's such an attacking, young, vibrant, pacey threat, and it's brilliant to see both of those two. And in fact, tonight seeing Maitland on the right, Iwobi on the left, and Willock in between those, you've got to be any team. But I say most teams in the Premier League will look at that and think, oh fuck, we're gonna have to get the Lucozade out, or get a few get the drip doctor in, because we're going to be run ragged by those three. And even it's good to see that with Ramsey dropping deep as well, playing a little bit more of the controlling thing. You know, the thing that he can't do. The reason why we're getting rid of him, because he can't play controlling Santi rolling midfield that he'd be rubbish at. Yeah, nice to see Ramsey doing that, because Ramsey just shows that you can play. I'll play Ramsey at left back for God's sake. In fact, he's played there everywhere but there. Just showed had another really good game. But those front three, they filled me full of joy. I mean, you could chuck Eddie in there as well, the front four. They filled me with joy that we have actually got something coming out from our youth system, and that we don't have to go out there and go and spend £60 million on an attacking player then that's really done nothing with his life, and then send him back to Dortmund just for the sake you can say you've loaned out 41 bloody players this season like Chelsea have. But it's just very promising, and these players are the ones that could save us money long run, because you give those 2 or 3 years and they'll be 50-60 million pound players.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing with that is as well is, you know, sometimes they may not work out for us in the long run, but then you can still, you know, sell them on. You made some money that you can then go and reinvest. But they all look promising. Maitland-Niles, I still don't know what position he's supposed to be. I thought he was good first half.
When he had the loan at Ipswich 2 years ago, you played out wide right, I think. He's got the ability to play wide left as well, so he can play anywhere that he wants to.
Yeah.
It's definitely, for me, out wide right. Just as long as he stays away from fullback, I mean, from right back or left back, and maybe occasionally you can play him at wing back. But you see today in some of the games he's played recently that that's his position. You make the most of what he's got, and his crossing and his ball control and his dribbling and all those other things that you need. Plus, he's got a goal in him as well.
Yeah. I do like him. You know, he's very relaxed and very calm on everything, which maybe he's a little bit too laid back at times, but he's got incredible pace for you know, he's got amazing pace, and then his passing still needs a bit of improvement, I think. So I think maybe that's the question mark on whether he should play centre mid. But having someone who's versatile and willing to play different roles, that's great.
Mr. Hollick has just put in there.
Yeah,
whisper it softly. Ashley Maitland-Niles is what we hoped Jet would have turned into. And for the Utes amongst us that don't remember Arsenal back in the banter days, that's J. Emmanuel Thomas, who was meant to be the next great wide hope, and it didn't work out for him. And his last I saw, he was around the bins in the KFC cleaning them. I think he might not even be with a team anymore.
That's terrible.
Who was the defensive midfielder? The Frimpong. Yes, the Frimpong Jet days. Oh, they were glory days.
Yeah, Frimpong's still playing though, isn't he?
Probably in the Latvian fourth division.
He was playing in Russia for a while. I don't know where he is now.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, and it's Ainsley, not Ashley. Danny just likes trolling you all.
It's not. It's Chuppa Chuppa Atcom and Ashley. It's not Ainsley. Ainsley's the one that does the cooking. Oh, misses.
Oh dear.
I'm going to go and have a look, see where the Frimpong is playing at the moment.
Go on then. I will briefly touch on, because they were the sort of the three headline youngsters. Although Maitland-Niles is now a little bit more known to the sort of our fans and stuff. Lacazette did come on for Nketiah. We're going to get into that. We've got a question about that.
Frimpong is currently without a club.
Oh, is that without?
He was last seen dirty in the field in Cyprus, and before that in Sweden, and then before that he was playing for Arsenal in Russia, and then Ufa in Russia.
There we go.
Who the fuck is he? What the hell? That's UFA, actual team.
We also saw Zach Medley come on. Didn't have too much to do. But again, another one who's sort of rated and excited. And then we saw Saka as well, who's the one that apparently everyone's raving about. Dom has confirmed to me he is going to be the next Ronaldo. He's told me on multiple occasions that's happening.
Well, Medley is the one I want to see play more often. He came on, he played left back again, but I think he can play centre back as well. It's a shame that more of the Arsenal under-23 games aren't shown and broadcast and let everybody know they're going to be on. And the under-18 games, much like the women's games, they're now on the red button on BBC. I'd like to watch a load of them, see what they're doing. But it's just this means
on the website, didn't they? They used to show a lot of the youth games.
In fact, Arsenal used to have their own Sky channel many moons ago. I think the under 18s played today or yesterday, and we've nicked all their players, so they probably got smashed.
I think we came back. We were losing, and I think we came back to win. But
we beat Brighton 3-1.
Yeah. So I mean, decent performance from everyone I thought today. Willock in particular was really good. I really liked Iwobi today. I had an argument with Jason. It's a shocker.
Surprise.
As everyone's surprised about. We were talking about Iwobi, and we're disappointed with the chance he had where he's one-on-one with a keeper and doesn't know whether to shoot or whether it's past the Lacazette, and that's frustrating.
His gripe was what happened at the end and not the rest of the game where Iwobi was brilliant.
Yeah, I thought Iwobi was really good. Again, he's one player who carries the ball so well, and people bounce off him. They can't tackle him. He's got magic feet. I saw a great stat the other day about Iwobi. He's number one of nutmegs in the Premier League. He's got more nutmegs than any other player.
Says it all. He's got skills that pay the bills.
Top of the list.
But considering we were saying before this started, people, we just had a little chit chat, and we were saying that for me, Iwobi, I don't know, people in the chat box, just put in there what you thought about Iwobi at the end of last season. Was he keep? Was he get rid of? Was he loan? For me, he was get rid of, definitely. And now, not only is he keep, he's in contention for that left-sided attacking player, because he has shown that if you listen to this pod long term, Steve Lord Hillwood always said the bloke's breathing out of his arse come an hour. How's a young man breathing out of his arse? He sorted that problem out. He seems full of confidence, and I'd say he ran that game from out there, and he's now seen as one of the senior players. He's absolutely brilliant. Here we go. Richard Garrett says keep. Abdul says load. I don't know what he means by that. Maybe loan. And Nunik says Iwobi never had a loan. So I think Unique's making a point there that look what he's done considering he never had a loan. He's always been. Who was it he came in for about 3 seasons ago, the second half of the season? Someone, was it Sanchez, got injured?
And he came in. Sanchez or someone, and he came in towards the end of the season, and it was like, whoa, who's this exciting kid? Yeah.
Oh, he's on fire.
Yeah.
And then blacked off. Here we go. Loan, keep from someone else, and we go. And Marco says, "Oh my God, I wanted him gone badly. He has turned himself around. Fair play." Yep, I agree with that. Yeah. Brilliant. What do you think?
I really like Iwobi. He has got issues clearly. Like his final ball sometimes isn't good enough. His shooting, he needs to improve massively. I'd absolutely love for him to improve his goal stats and stuff, because that's one of the things he's really missing. But I think if people go back and they look at all the goals he scored this season, the games he's played, see how much he's actually involved in the goals, whether he's actually the one giving the assist or he's the one who builds it up. And we've had a lot of play down the sides from either Bellerin and a lot lately from Kolasinac. So much of it goes for Iwobi from him carrying the ball 20-30 yards or getting him involved in the link-up play, that kind of thing. So I think he's a lot better than people rate. And the problem is you only remember the mistakes he makes, and because he doesn't score goals and stuff, you forget all the other things. I know he gives the ball away, but find me a forward player that doesn't give the ball away.
Oh, but
I don't care if a player gives the ball away on the edge of the opponent's box. That's fine.
at least you're trying.
Yeah, I think he's a decent player. I do think he needs to improve on things. But I'm quite happy with him. And considering we're losing Ramsey, and we don't know what's going on with Özil, whether he's staying, whether he's going. We've got to try and keep hold of these players. I did something with stats earlier. I was saying to Jason, because there are some people who are being a bit mean about Alex Iwobi. So I'm going to throw out some stats for you. Just in the okay, this is just stats for the league. So he's got 5 assists and 2 goals in the league. Mkhitaryan has got 4 goals, 1 assist. Rambo's got 2 goals, 6 assists. Özil's got 4 goals, 1 assist. He's nowhere near the experience level of any of those players.
Or the wage level.
Yeah. So I don't actually think it's that bad, So I think you have to look at those sort of things and look what he contributes to the team, and also the fact the manager really trusts him. He always likes playing him. He likes bringing him on. He trusts to play him, and he is seen as a proper senior, first team player now, which I think is really good.
Do you want a few comments from what people are saying?
Yeah, go on.
Abdul says, let's be honest, he is all right, but we are Arsenal. We need better. Ask yourself, would he start in any other top 6 team? And he says, simple, no. T2F Music Studio says, we have Abba and Laka up front. We need someone who can really assist them all day in and out. And just another gamer says, stop the Iwobi illusion. He wouldn't even sit on the bench for a top 3 team. But we're not a top 3 team, are we? And then, hold on, have a go at this one. Ayo Kunli, maybe? Says Sanchez loses the ball and we still love him. Iwobi is 22. Bloody hell. How many times would Sanchez lose the ball back? Well, doesn't he have the Premier League record at Man United for losing the ball like 40 times? There you go. I used the word like appropriately.
I think it was over 50 times in one game, or in one half, I think it was. He lost the ball. Yeah, Sanchez did it all the time, but then people loved him because he scored amazing, spectacular goals.
Vickery says, bring back Nelson next season, first 11. Wow. God, yeah, add that into the mix. Yeah. Another brilliantly quick play. But there again, what do you want from a winger? Do you want someone who's going to do a Theo Walcott where you're going to run all the way down and then get to the touchline and go, I don't know? Or do you want someone who's going to get down there and then cross it for someone else to put it in? So I don't think not scoring goals is a problem for him. I don't want him to score goals. I want him to put it in the mixer, as the TV pundits say.
I mean, there's a few people saying, like Archie says, look at Sane compared to Iwobi. I mean, yeah, it's not a fair. Well, all right, you can say it's a fair comparison. They're different players. I think Iwobi's more of a 10 really than anything else. He's not even a winger, is he? He's just a creative forward. And yeah, Sane's a better player, but we're not Man City, and we don't have 60 million or whatever it is to go out and spend on every single player for every position.
We don't have 6 million.
Apparently not.
No, bugger all.
Just quickly, we touched on the defence and Czech and that. I thought they're all fairly okay. Lichtsteiner again, looked a little bit suspect. Kolasinac was okay, kind of going through the motions, didn't have too much to do. El Neni, what did you think of him today? Neat and tidy, but is he? I mean, is it just a case of what's the point of having him in a squad? Is he literally just a body?
No, he does the same. He got the same Opta rating as Ramsey. He got a 7.3, and he was doing the kind of a cross between the Xhaka role and the Torreira role. Yeah, you do need someone to come in and do that, because if we wouldn't have had El Neni at the club, we would have had to play Xhaka or Torreira in that position. And then what's he on a week? 30, 40 grand a week? That's peanuts for a Premier League club. And someone that you know is ready to come in, you trust him to come and play there. Plus, he makes Rami Shaban happy because he's Egyptian. And he's got great hair. Why then one hasn't started doing a range of Arsenal wigs, because you've got his great hair, like in the Henrik Larsson days at Celtic, where they used to flog the wigs and then they went bankrupt when he shaved his head. Oh, yeah, great hair. So, we need players like that, because if you don't play him there, who are you going to play?
Yeah. I suppose, could have played. It would have been
Guendouzi. Rest.
Yeah, Guendouzi.
Mithro maybe isn't quite ready for that. You can't pack the entire forward line full of teenagers, can you? So I like El Neni. I like his attitude as well. It doesn't matter what you want him to do. He'll go out there and he'll do it, and he'll do it well. He's not ever going to be a first 11 with everyone's fit. You may not even be a first 17 when everybody's fit, but he is someone in there like a Grimandi, a Remy Gard, players of those ilk that are going to be ready. Yep, I'm ready. I'll play. Very rarely is he injured and always gives it his all, which is all you can ask for a player. Much more than some other players at Arsenal that we're not going to talk about.
We've got some breaking news. It's only a rumor. It's only a rumor, Mr. Hollick. So believe it if you will, but it's just a rumor. He does say that.
I believe it.
Is that El Neni could be bait for Koulibaly, who is open to a move to Arsenal. So,
what, as in chop him up and leave him out there for him to come and snare him?
Now, be nice, people. David didn't say that Arsenal are signing Koulibaly. He said it's a rumor that El Neni might be part of a possible bait deal to try and get Koulibaly in. So be nice, all right?
And David is always very careful with what he says.
Yeah,
so read it exactly. He doesn't go, oh, we're going to sign him. He will go, there's been rumours.
There's been rumours, nothing else. He didn't say that we're definitely signing him or anything. So play nice. So are you going to jump into some questions from the chat box? Because in terms of the game, I mean, it really was just 3 goals. There was no bad tackles.
No.
There was no fan protest like on the pitch. I thought someone might come on the pitch, or there might be some. I've seen some Blackpool games where they're hurling abuse at the box and stuff where Oyston sits, but none of that either.
They were singing Ramsey's name, which was brilliant.
Yeah, they're all singing that. You could hear the Arsenal fans singing some delightful songs about that up the road if you were watching on certain channels.
Did you see that tweet that I did yesterday?
Oh, yes, I did.
Turned out to be a winner, actually, because I followed that with, if you do actually want some signed shit, just go out to N17. They got loads of it. It's because I've got a wireless keyboard, people. Look, see this. Look, wireless keyboard. Sometimes I'm holding, if you listen to this on iTunes and Spotify, I'm holding up my wireless keyboard. It is known if you type too quickly with my pork sausages, and there were cold fingers, it's like, I'd have done better if I'd have just chucked frozen sausages at the keyboard. Sometimes I miss a word. So actually, rather than putting you can get a signed Santi shirt, I've put you can get a signed Santi shit. Oh, John, save me.
There is definitely some people who would still want that, though. They'd still take actually shit from Santi Cazorla.
Gav is actually going to start doing a line of famous Arsenal players, golden shits.
All right, so we've got some questions already, but if you do
you hosting and doing questions.
Oh yeah. If you do have any questions, then please do put them in the chat, and me or Danny will grab them. We've already got a few from earlier. So we've got a couple here from Uke79. We'll take these in turn, Danny. With many of our players being over 30 and having no resale value, with Ozil's wages and Ramsey's contract situation, how do we get around this? Where do we go from here?
We wait for them we either wait for them to die of old age, or we rely on youth. And eventually, no matter who was the player, was it Winston Bogard was the one at Chelsea who was the original, I've signed for a huge amount of money and now I'm going to sit on my ass for 3 years. If you don't want to play me, I'm not going anywhere else. Was it him?
I think it
the
might
Dutch,
have been, yeah.
Dutch defender, possibly a right back they got from Barca, paid huge amount of money when Abramovich first took over at Chelsea, and he just went, I'll buy anybody who's famous, bought him, and then they turned out he was rubbish and not going anywhere. So he literally sat with the reserves and the youth for 3 years on 40 grand a week or whatever it was back then. And very rarely will you get any other players that are going to do that. So with Arsenal players, you're either going to sit on your ass and do nothing and then your career's over, or you're going to have to leave, because we have got brilliant young hungry players coming through, and they're the ones that are going to take your position, and they're the ones that are going to make you look like an idiot. And you may be getting X amount of money every week, but in the long run, you're a footballer and you're not doing your job, so you should be ashamed of yourself. I mean, there's been rumours. I don't know anybody in football. The only person I know in football is Chris, but there's been rumours that Ozil has refused to go out on loan.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, people in the chat box, you must have heard that. I mean, I say heard it. I read it. I go to News Now. I go to Arsenal, and I read lots of the nonsense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to add on to that, I do think, one, our youth development is important, like players through from our academy, but also we've got to go down the sort of route we've done with Torreira, what we've done with Guendouzi, getting those kind of signings. Some of them we may have to sell for a profit after a few years, and other ones we can keep if we can. And that's kind of the situation we're in at the moment, unless Kroenke decides to invest some money of his own, which doesn't look particularly likely. So there you go. Also from Unique 79, what do you think? Oh, there we go. That's exactly what he's put, actually. What do you think about Arsenal apparently following the Dortmund model, which is develop youngsters, sell them, which saves Kroenke spending his own money?
But then we'd be buying our own players, wouldn't we? If it's through that Dortmund.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what basically what I just said. But I do think that that's we'll be in for those sort of things more. I mean, the other thing I would say is that I know obviously everyone saw. If you hadn't seen it, Swiss Ramble did a brilliant breakdown of the last 10 years. I think it was Danny of the Premier League,
Yeah.
of clubs investment who have been in whoever
Oh, was it
whatever
him
clubs
the
were
one
in.
who did that?
Yes, yeah, Swiss
Oh, well,
Ramble,
Swiss
yeah,
Ramble's been on the pod. He's a friend of the pod. Wonderful human being and a
yeah.
great person when it comes to finance. You should go and follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, go check out Swiss Ramble on Twitter, and he done a great breakdown of operation spending and commercial revenue, player investment, all that kind of thing of all the different clubs. And Arsenal and Middlesbrough were the only clubs who had zero investment from their owners. And our it was for the whole 10-year period. Middlesbrough was for the one season they were back in the league, I think it was. So you compare that to other clubs, obviously, and that's damning indictment, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. The one flip side thing you can say to that is, we spent a lot of money on Aubameyang, we spent a lot of money on Lacazette, we spent 35 million on Sanchez, 40 something on Özil. So we still do have money to spend. You
We
just have
did.
to.
It's
Well,
got to make the most of what we spent it on, and
you have to either spend better, and we have to sell. We definitely have to sell better. I think
yeah.
is the real big thing, but you know, in the last year and a half, we've actually spent quite a lot of money. So it's not surprising that particularly this window we haven't really got anything. Also, there's the whole, Arsenal's left and all his staff. So there was certainly a payout for that had to be taken into account. So maybe in the summer we've got a little bit more. Ramsey leaves, his wages are freed up, although it's not as much. There's still the question mark over Özil. Danny Welbeck will be going. Petr Cech will probably be going as well. So that's a lot more money to be freed up as well that can be used. So it might just be this window, but yeah, it definitely looks like we're going down the Dortmund route. Before I do any more questions, there's a very angry Welshman just popped up in the chat.
Oh, where is he? I'll ban him.
I
There we go.
apologise. I apologise immediately to all of you listening to on Stitcher and SoundCloud and Spotify and everywhere else. But where's my lakes?
Eh?
Oh, where's my lakes?
Not tidy.
I don't come on here. I can't do the Welsh accent at all. It's terrible. Look,
nor
I
can
don't.
he.
Yeah, look, Jason doesn't come on here even today
No.
to give you free content. Where's his likes? Come on, let's get on with it. Tappy for the taffy.
He's had to get off the CrossFit to come here. He's on the CrossFit making his tuna and onion sandwiches for work tomorrow.
Oh dear.
I'm probably doing the ironing all at the same time.
Oh, right. So we jump back into questions now. Loki 73. Look, Jason's in there, chat box. I'm just saying, you're taking your life into your own hands right now. Loki 73. Best FA Cup final win. Mine is Chelsea Cardiff 2002. Weidemoren's this the FA Cup. What else can we win? And then he puts FFS. What does that mean, Danny?
For fuck's sake, I think.
Oh dear.
And WTF means why the face. What's your? So I missed that. I missed the Chelsea final because back in the Highbury days we had to send a check off, and I don't mean the bloke from Star Trek because they're both dead, but I had to write a check and post it to him, and it didn't bloody arrive. So I didn't go to the Chelsea Cup final. Went to all the others at Cardiff though, and the League Cup final. But my favourite FA Cup final was '98. Beat Newcastle 2-0. Hottest day ever in the known history of the UK. Even when the planet was still forming its crust, it was even hotter than then. And I remember being at the Everton game and thinking, "We've won the bloody league. We've won the league. We're magnificent." And then we've been there when Anelka scores that goal and Overmars scores the second one, thinking, "We've only done the double. Oh wow!" And then Sean was born 2 weeks later.
So that ruined it.
That ruined it. Completely ruined it for me. Pissed all over my fireworks.
My favourite was the Chelsea run, same as Loki, up until actually Chelsea again. The last time we won it, just because I had no hope of us winning that game. I really didn't think we'd win it, and we had such a makeshift defence. And Mertesacker came in, and he hadn't played for so long, and Rob Holding. It's against Diego Costa, a complete menace, and they
I,
absolutely schooled him. It was amazing.
I can't remember who scored the winning goal. Can you? It's completely gone.
No, it's out of
No,
my head. No,
no.
can't remember.
Anybody
Maybe
else in the
it's
chat box know? Because we can't remember. Probably
don't
someone
know.
unimportant.
Yeah, someone might know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely so. But on to the second part of the question: why do morons diss the FA Cup? Um, it's just not the same anymore, is it? You know, I don't.
I like it.
I think if you're, I don't want to be rude to anyone because young people might like it as well. But I do think if you're an older generation, it's still important to you. I think now it's all league and the Champions League, isn't it? It's not. It doesn't hold the same glory it used to do. I
Remember all
think
those
because it was Man United's fault. It
all
was the
those
year they quit.
podcasts? I go, fuck the Champions League. I hate the Champions League. Oh God, I wish we were in the Champions League.
Yeah, yeah.
We've had a good run in the Europa League semi-final, and then we won it this year.
Oh, have we won it already?
We have one. I'll use my time machine. Me and Chris, we went forward in time.
Oh, there
and
we go.
Just so we could get a head start on what hairstyle he's going to have, and it's going for the Lion main streaks again at the end of the season. So
I thought he was in the stand for Blackpool, sitting in the chairman's
he
seat.
was
There we go.
putting on his gloves, sitting next to a lovely young lady,
Oh.
as is his wont.
Another question from Unique 79. This one's for you, Danny.
Oh,
how
good.
are our youth teams doing? Are there any up and coming players that we should be excited about?
Well, you saw all of our up and coming players we should be excited about. You saw them all tonight because most of them are coming through. So because we've had so many of the under 23s not play for the under 23s, we are absolutely awful. We've lost. I'm going to have a look at the results here. We haven't won a game in ages. We lost 4-0 to Blackburn, 4-1 to Liverpool, 5-0 to Derby, 5-4 to Chelsea. Before that, we were having a really good run. And so, but most of those players have come through and are playing in the first team now, the likes of Smith Rowe and Nketiah. Zenadem's been playing a few games, but Willock, that's another brilliant one. Saka, Maitland-Niles, all of these players that Charlie Gilmore made his debut again recently. OC Tutu, that's another really good one. Some young man playing for the reserves called Koscielny. I think he's 13, so that's a good one. Bowler, who played tonight, Mark Bowler, his brother, is it Tyrese Bowler? No, Tolaji is still there. Cohen Bramall, maybe not so much. But the thing we don't really have is a really good young goalkeeper. Martinez is 26, Iliev is 23, and Macedonian and rubbish is letting in goals left, right, and then Julio Unpronounceable is another one that should be coming through. Zach Medley, as we've seen, another really good one. And the under-18s, there's so many players that they've got through an entire load. Because when you take the under-23s, you put them in the first team. The under-18s that are decent, then go to the under-23s, and then the under-18s. We had a 15 or a 16-year-old recently playing for the under-18s. But oddly, the under-18s are having a really good season. Like I just said, they beat Brighton 3-1, and in that league, we are only 2 points behind Spurs. We've played 12, won 10, scored 40, conceded 16. And Balogun has got 11 goals so far for the season. And Sam Greenwood, if you go and watch the on Netflix, the Sunderland documentary, We Still There, your best young striker. He's got 5 goals. That's a really good documentary. Fingers crossed for them in that documentary that they managed to get promoted last season straight back up to the Premier League. I really hope they do it. I've got my fingers crossed for them. But no one ruin it for me. But the gist of it is we have got a hell of a brilliant young system. And if all the proper players are playing for the under-23s, they would be doing much, much better. But it's exciting. But we didn't do a roundup this week because I had a shitty microphone and these three wouldn't let me speak on the podcast. They bullied me and said, no, you're not doing it.
Richard Garrett asks, why the hell hasn't Emery made more use of Jenks and El Neni in the Prem? We also had someone else ask, Nicky Wilson asked, should Jenkinson be ahead of Lichtsteiner? Okay, so this kind of, they both questions link in. As for El Neni, I don't think he's going to start over any of the midfielders we've got. He's certainly not going to start over Xhaka or Torreira. And Guendouzi is a development player, so I don't think you're going to see him over him. So that doesn't surprise me necessarily. If we get more injuries, then you're likely to see him. Jenkinson over Lichtsteiner. This is the interesting one, Danny. I said this kind of as a joke a while ago, And then I saw him in the Europa League, and I thought, actually, you know what, he's doing all right. And I've seen him a couple more times. He's come in, he's played left back, he's played centre back, he's played right back. And Lichtsteiner, to be honest, looks so slow and just sort of past it at this level. Wouldn't it be better to give Jenkinson the run? You know?
Definitely would. Yeah, you're not going to get turned inside out the entire time, and Jenkinson can jump. And I was overly excited about the experience that Lichtsteiner could bring to the club in the summer. I was completely wrong. It's a waste of a lot of money and the development of other players. We all thought that that Jenkinson would be shown the door. He hasn't been, and when he has played, he has done good. And that's why I get quite annoyed when people take the piss out of him that he's just because he's got a signed autograph from Gunnosaurus Rex means that he's playing in the first team. No, he deserves to be playing there. And people forget that he had 2 loan spells in 2 seasons at West Ham. He was brilliant for the first loan spell and until he got injured and broke his leg in the second loan spell. A couple of seasons ago, he was at Birmingham, and Birmingham nearly got relegated, and he was awful, and he got injured as well. But he is a player, and you don't get to play best part of 70 games for Arsenal. We feel shit, and I like him. And he's always up for it. And he's much like El Neni. That's probably why they're in the same question. He is a player that will go out there and give you what you want every game. Not a first team player. If Bellerin's fit, you're not going to be needed. But he's like you were saying, his versatility and his attitude, everything is right about the bloke. And he's like one of us, isn't he? You wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years he ends up being part of ABW. He's that much of an Arsenal fan. What do you think then, Jinx? Oh, it's all banter.
Oh dear. No, I do like Jenkinson. I think every time he's been called on this season, he's done really well. And you can't ask anything more from him. I just think he just goes out and just wants to play for the shirt. He's genuinely one of us. He's a proper fan who's got to live the dream. So I didn't think I'd ever see him in an Arsenal shirt again.
No.
And he ended up sticking around. So, you know, I'm not against it, giving him a run in a couple of Premier League games. I certainly would start him over Lichtsteiner at the moment, that's for sure. A couple more questions. John Bernstein asked, why did Lacazette play when we were up 2-0? Is he trying to get him hurt?
No, I think it's... do you want to take that?
I don't think he's trying to get him injured or hurt.
There is a simple answer.
Yeah. Why would he put him on when we're 2-0 up? There was a small period where Blackpool were not on top, but they had a bit more of the ball and they weren't creating clear chances, but they were pressuring us a little bit. I think it was a case of Eddie looked a little bit leggy at that point. He hadn't taken any of his chances. Not that he played terribly, but it was a little bit disappointing in his performance. And I think you just bring Lacazette on. Blackpool's defence is tiring. Can hold the ball a little bit better. It gives Blackpool something else to think about. And to be honest, the moment he came on, we sort of regained possession again and then took control of the game again. So I don't think it's like any bad blood. I know I've seen some people say that he's subbing him off all the time and leaving Aubameyang on because he favours one over the other. I don't think it's that. I think most of the time it has been tactical.
But you look at the number, I think it's because of the number of minutes. He played 26 tonight, 75 v Fulham, 19 v Liverpool, 62 v Brighton, 78 Burnley, 32 v Tottenham. He's not playing 90 minutes. And then just looking back in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games, he's not played the full 90 minutes. So you've got to keep him fit. You've got to keep him match fit. You've got to keep him on his toes. Yeah. And there's no point just going, well, it's a shit game against a team that you don't need to play against. You've got to get minutes. Otherwise, when we do need him, we go, oh, God, I've only played 19 minutes in the last month.
Yeah.
Keeping them topped up.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's fine.
And he doesn't seem to mind either, which is another brilliant
he always wants to
play.
Good
pro.
That's the good thing. He always wants to play. Mr. Holick makes a good point. Didn't understand why Jenkinson and Lichtsteiner didn't switch places today when it was clear Lichtsteiner was struggling. I thought that was, I can see that now actually looking back on it because Jenkinson played centre back in, was it 2 Europa League games, I think? I think in one of them we played a back 3, but then we switched to a 4 and he might have played next to, it might have been Zach Medley actually for the last 10, 15 minutes of the game. So, I mean, Lichtsteiner doesn't look comfortable unless he's playing right back, and even then, it's still questionable, to be honest. Well, I said that on the pod this week that Juventus they let players go who are no longer good enough. That we're not at Juventus's level, but we're not that far down the rung that we should have taken Lichtsteiner on. But there you go. Everyone makes mistakes. It made perfect sense to me at the time when we signed him. He's probably very good in the dressing room, but on the pitch, certainly questionable. Couple more questions. Piyush Kapoor asks, Aubameyang is considered world class, yet he misses so many clear-cut chances. Harry Kane always scores and rarely misses. If given a choice, would you swap Aubameyang for Kane? Oh, Danny, go on then.
I wouldn't swap Kane for my daughter. That's not a good analogy.
No,
Is it?
that's
No,
not
I
a good.
wouldn't
No, it
want
doesn't
Kane
work.
anywhere. The only reason I want Kane at the club is so we can sell him immediately, and then sell him to Real Madrid for 150 million quid because he's the world's greatest player and he's just had a knighthood and been made king or whatever nonsense he's got. No, don't want him anywhere near the club. He's just a fluker. Nearly all of his goals are flukes, and the odd good one, man, he's shit. Don't rate him and get fucked. You?
It's an Arsenal podcast. I'm not allowed to say anything. So yeah, no,
good.
No,
and he plays for England. Double fuck him.
Oh, terrible. Unique 79 as another one. Would Usmanov have made a difference? Oh, Christ.
Well, where are we going to play him? Well, we could have brought him on rather than Lacazette, but no, he's too old and fat. Next question.
That is a great answer, Danny. That's the best answer we've ever had to that sort of question.
Well, what does he mean?
I think he means in terms of ownership, because people were talking about Oyston and Kroenke and how then scumbag owners to differing
he would have
levels.
bought Spurs and turned it into a car park.
Yeah, maybe. It's a good answer though. So I'll tell you what, Unique 79. Send it in to the next pod proper on Twitter. Send that question in, and they can give you a proper answer for it. So we can't really do it now on the radio show because we've got to try and keep it shorter. All right, last question then. Grant Wilborn, because lots of people have been asking about this. What do you guys think of the Denis Suarez talk? Seems like a midfielder is second on the list after centre back. So lots of noise this week about Denis Suarez from Barcelona possibly signing for us for 20 million, I think. Barca want the deal done this January. Arsenal allegedly want a loan and then they sign him in the summer or something. I assume it's maybe perhaps to do with money and that sort of thing. Okay, so Danny, do you think centre back should be above the list before midfielder?
Definitely.
Yeah.
You?
It would be top of my list as well. The one thing I would say in defence of the club is if there isn't a centre back out there that they want, or the one they want isn't available till summer, then I get it. At first, it was a little bit, I don't know why we're getting Denis Suarez, but then when I thought about it, I thought Ramsey going, Ozil situation, Mkhitaryan's 30. We're not sure how much longer we're keeping him. Welbeck probably going as well. He can play as an 8. He can play as a 10. He can play wide as well. Emery knows him from his time at Sevilla, I think. He had him on loan there, didn't he, a couple of times?
14,
maybe?
15.
Yeah. So I think it's a decent signing. I'm not buzzed over the moon excited about it because he's of a certain level. He's got all the technical ability and everything else you'd expect from someone who's been to La Masia, but he's not a superstar, huge, big signing name. But I suppose these are the kind of signings that we can expect, I guess.
But his contract is up in the summer of 2020, and they got, apparently, according to the transfer market, a 1-year option. His central midfielder is his best role, can maybe play a little bit more forward, play possibly left wing a little bit. He's right-footed, and he's 24, so he's got age on his side, but I don't think, excellent, I'm going to go out and buy a shirt with his name on the back of it. He's played 6 games in all competitions, I suppose, all competitions this season, 2 goals, 27-3 last season, 36-3 the year before that. And Barcelona have won the league 3 years in a row, haven't they? Have they? I'm sure they have.
I can't remember now.
Well, Real Madrid aren't winning it, are they?
They're like 10 points clear or something this season, aren't they? I know that.
Barnet would be the top of that league, bloody feeder league.
Yeah.
That doesn't fill me with joy or with, excellent. It's just someone who's going to come in and do a job, and I don't think it'll bring us any further forward.
Yeah.
We'll just give the 20 million to Ramsey and get him to stay.
Mr. Hollick did say if we want Suarez January, then maybe Ramsey goes early. I can see that. I was speaking to Joel, formerly of the Football Hipsters podcast, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Who is a big Barca fan, and he was talking about him. He said, decent player, always flatters to deceive though, very tidy in possession, but lacks a little something. If Barca get anywhere near 20 million, I'd be happy. hardly featured at all this season. He said, like, he's not a bad player by any means, but he's not, he's not exciting. But I understand the reasoning behind it. And I did say that was the last question, but some Welsh tit came in and asked one, didn't he? So I suppose we better answer it. If we do get Suarez, will Unai deploy him properly? What do you reckon, Danny?
As I had no idea what position he played in ever before, and I have no idea what he looks like, I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. I know nothing about him. I'll just say, I know nothing. Go and watch 40 Tales, people. That wasn't me being racialist. It was a little bit, but
look, every time I'm about to say we've done with questions, we get another one. Mr. Holick.
Oh, we have to ask that.
Yeah, we've got to ask this one now, right? We play Aubameyang at number 14, who has 14 goals. Lacazette at number 9, who has 9 goals. Why aren't we playing the number 82 every week?
Isn't 82 an egg fried rice? Put that up front. It'd probably be more use than Ursel.
Oh dear. Well, on that bombshell, we'll end it there for today's show. Yeah. So look, nice, comfortable win. It wasn't the most exciting game in the world. Away fans were brilliant as usual.
Yep,
2 goals for Willock the younger. Away gets himself a goal as well. Youngsters all got some minutes out on the pitch. Eddie could have done better. Could have got himself a hat trick, but it's all right. He's still got a long, long future ahead of him. He's only 19, so don't get all over his back yet.
Yeah.
You got some exciting rumor news from Mr. Holick, and we're ending perfectly because just as Josh joined,
actual facts.
Mr. Josh just joined, so that's perfect.
He was at the game, wasn't he?
He was at the game, yeah.
Oh, Josh, what was your thoughts on the? He said, "Oh, Eddie was so poor." Shut up.
Oh, we're not listening to Josh.
Boo!
Before you all leave, by the way, you can't leave the chat box yet because I only see 64 likes on my screen.
Disgusting.
There might be more. I'm not sure. Can you at least get me to 69?
Oh no! What are we? 12?
Come on, chat box. 69 me.
I want 70. The year I was born. Oh, wow, that's a long time ago.
We're nearly there. We're one off. I need one more. Come on, just one more.
One's gone down. It wasn't 69. It's gone. They've removed it.
Oh, it's not good enough.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
That is absolutely terrible. Oh, okay. Well, look, we've gone past 69 now, so you may as well go up to 100.
Yeah, might as well.
There's 165 of you watching right now. We haven't even got 100 thumbs up and down together. It's not good enough. Come on, keep going.
If we get to 80, I'll tell you a joke.
There you go.
Sean and her mum, and it made them both go. Ugh.
Do you want to hear a Danny joke? Because if you get to 80, you will get told a Danny joke. And
it's
honestly,
terrible. It's not rude.
It's going to be amazing. I don't even know what a joke is, so I might pull the plug halfway through if it gets too bad. We're at 80, Danny.
Well, with my snood, I look like I'm a human boiled egg, but it's a big pink snood, and I said it needs trimming around the top so the top part of me can pop out. I said what I need is a moil, and they had no idea what a moil was. And so I said, I got a joke about a moil that might explain what it was. A moil is a bloke who does circumcisions in the Jewish world. And I said, this bloke is a moil, and it's not Christmas. It wouldn't be Christmas at all, would it? It was his wife's birthday. And she said, we got me presents. He gives her a present. It's a tiny little leather wallet. And she went, well, that's not really what I wanted. And he went, why? She said, well, I wanted a suitcase. And he went, give it a rub. Give it a rub, turned into a suitcase.
Oh god, dear.
Yeah. So if you go on my Twitter, you'll no doubt see a picture of me in my snood. I needed a mole to come and release me from my snood because only the top part of my head was pipping out.
Some of those likes have gone now. They've disappeared. Even the thumbs down, one of them's gone as well. Take them away. Take your likes back. That was dreadful. Oh. No, so thank you very much for watching today's show. We will be back with I don't know who's on the next show.
It's West Ham Saturday 12:30 kickoff, and you'll have to text me and let me know how we get on because I will be asleep.
Yeah. So we got that. Have we got a podcast before that, Danny?
We have, but as usual, I've got no idea who is on the podcast. If I go and have a look in the live group, then Jace will have put on there. West Ham it is. Oh, it's you, Shredder, and Josh. And then after that, the Chelsea game, it's going to be Jason, Dom, and Josh. Are you going to get a week off, John? Bloody hell. That's not right, is it?
Jason's got 2 weeks off in a row, though. Do you notice that? Not today, not next week.
It's funny how those in charge pull strings, get shit done.
Yeah. 2 weeks off, but he's coming in here demanding your likes. I don't
And
know.
this week's podcast was absolutely brilliant. It was you and Chris and Shredder, and I listened to it, and I'm on it a teeny bit when Chris forgets that I'm not talking on it. And that was a really, really fun, interesting, and slightly different way of doing it podcast. But that's the way we tend to do things now. We just do it's more of a round table where people just talk and have a good chat. So this week's Tuesday's podcast, back to Tuesdays now. I've got no idea who's going to be on it. It's I don't know, maybe Jeff Arsenal. There you go, people. I want to see if Jeff Arsenal will come, or maybe Mr. Holick might be free. Get in some wise words. I'll have to shut up again, or I'll only ruin it. And and we will be working on a North American podcast again soon, which will be Dom, Shredder, and OG, in the wonderful OG, who we all wish we were. And that will be coming up soon. We have a little WhatsApp group where we're trying to arrange that, and we have to do that late night, like 2, 3, 4 o'clock a.m. so that so they're all home. So that's the plans, John.
Okay. And as someone said, AFC Coyote, yes, we are not far off the frame Santi shit. So unbelievably, this show of all shows might be the one to push us just over the 1 million mark.
I think it's pushed plenty over the edge already. We are at 992,436. So we need 7,564 more views.
Yeah, so this show might be the one that ends up pushing us over the edge for the signed Santi Cazorla. And I can confirm it is a shirt.
Yes.
It's a shirt.
It's not a golden turd.
Yeah, it's not a golden turd. Although if it was from Santi, it would be golden. But that'll be it. But we'll post about how that's all going to be, what the question or how we're doing a giveaway and stuff. Don't worry, you won't miss it. It'll be blasted everywhere.
I've had a bit of a play around. If you go to podcast number 268, I've had a play and seen how many adverts I can get on it. There's an advert every 5 minutes. Podcast 268, advert every 5 minutes. Go and just leave that on, people, and leave the adverts to run, and you will make us money, and you will get the views up, and then you'll get your shirt quicker. But I just thought, I wonder how many adverts. It's a podcast we've done ages ago. No one's going to listen. So 268, Emery and his grand plan. Grand scheme, and I've just put advert after advert after advert, as many as I could, all the way through, and then I forgot to turn it off when I was playing around with it, so it's still there. There's like 10 or 15 adverts in a row, so just go and put that on and leave it to play. Make us some money rather than donating. There you go, people, and then you'll get your signed Santi golden shit. Do you see him against Real Madrid? 2 goals. You see them?
It was good. It was very good. I did. I enjoyed that.
Oh, good old Santi. He scored with a header. He jumped up and nodded it down. Brilliant. The smallest player in history scored with a header. Only Kanté is smaller.
Perfect way to end it. Nicky Wilson says, always skip. Wish Jason's talking came with a skip as well. So we have been ABW Live. Don't forget to check out this week's pod. Check out the upcoming pod, and we'll be back obviously for the West Ham game, and you will be seeing my face yet again. So apologies for that. Danny, switch this shit off.
Nanu, you tidy bastards.